with the decline in the churches. I mean, if you look at the stats and stuff like that, such a great decline, and you know, to see the like you said, you know, this Sunday got burned, and you'll see Sunday because you know Easter is usually traditional. Even all the heathens go to church on Sunday. On Easter, and to see what happens, you know, the next Sunday, and we pray that you know that you know even if they return, they do return. But even if you get a few people, you know, they come back and have made a commitment, you know. But you know, we look at society today that within the body. Can we go right back to the whole point is that we're as you know the word tells us to go make disciples. I guess that's my theme is that if we all did our job, and if you got 10 people and if everybody brought one person a year, you double it, and then you do that again the following year. The church grows, but the thing is that are we doing our job? Are we doing what God called us to do? Is to share the gospel, minister. You know, are we doing it? What do you say? What do you say?
Just checking something.
If everybody was saved, would just bring one, and likewise, the whole world would be evangelized. 100 times over. You support. But so many people want to secret service, undercover Christians. I don't know.
Well, look at the prophetic.
No offense to him, but this is where he's at now. It's the third building that Pastor Kelly's building. Maybe he's from the past experiences. That's why
I haven't been done in order, but Perry has the order. Try to remember. Let me put it over there.
I don't agree, but I have no say. You know, and it's hard to come against an elder. You know, God's word talks about being careful. You know, so
I've gotten in more trouble sticking my foot in my mouth and telling the people the truth. And so, when you tell the truth is the truth. But nobody want to hear the truth. And when they, you know, and so, what was that saying? That, a voice in the wilderness is calling out. And come on, brother. I like that one. I love that. And because we gotta tell the truth. And the reality is that God will hold that against you, saying, why did you stand up for my word? Why didn't you do something? And well, we can't blame it all on the pastor. You know, we can't do that. We all have a responsibility, you know, and to share the gospel. And my goodness, if you don't share it, people don't pray. How many?
My Bible says, "Go ye into all the world," and I see a bunch of ye's here. Doesn't say the clergy. Doesn't say the. Those who've been educated.
look at the prophecies of the scriptures. What does it talk about last days?
Oh, yeah.
Men's hearts will fail them. They'll harden their hearts.
The truth will lie.
They will forsake the gathering of the brethren. Okay. So what do you do
They
with
think they do God a favor.
what do you do when this is what's happening all around you, what do you do? In that essence, well then you don't need a big building, you just need faithful people to do what they're called to do. Thank you. So,
Go ahead. Did you say something? You had your hand up?
You know, when I look at the greatest growth in the church, when I look to the past to see what happened, most of it has one thing in common, and that's that the Christian is persecuted. When even like these Catholic saints, as they call them, which are just Christians like everyone else, even when they went into foreign countries and stuff, they stood out. They were different. During the persecution of them, if you read Fox's Book of Martyrs, any of that, during the time that they were being tortured, people were coming to the Lord while they were being tortured, you know. And this is not a popular message to the Christian church, especially the church that's been at ease for so long, as I call it. But all of it, growth came through the persecution and stuff. From the very beginning with Christ himself. The explosion came when people looked at him, because people can hear us preach the gospel with the words, and if they don't see it, it's worthless.
Amen.
You know? But if you're going through something and they see you going through something, it's hard to preach this. And you're going through something, it makes you different. And they say, well, how can this person keep their act together or whatever? There's something different about it, what it is. And when you bring your testimony, it's Christ. It's Jesus. He's the one who gives me the endurance to go through this and for a better, you know, and it opens up the gospel, the good news. You know? In the crux, the short of it all, that's what it's all about. And it's, are you willing to bear your cross, so to speak?
Yeah.
You know.
You know, remember, I don't know if you guys remember that famous sermon from David Wickerson. There was no bread. That right after the Twin Towers went down, that everybody, all the churches throughout the country were all full.
I was just about to say that an apocalyptic event draws everybody back to church.
Right.
You tell you see a volcano going somewhere, everybody on that island that's not near the volcano will be in church praying. You see something like the Twin Towers or a plane kidnapping
Or even Fox.
or a nut going into a community and shooting up a high school or something, and everybody's in church.
It's like in the military, with the foxhole, nobody's an atheist in the hole when the fire's going.
But the bad testimony on the church is, yeah, 9/11 drove a lot of people to churches, but they went there and they didn't stay because they couldn't find the answers.
There was no bread.
No discipleship.
And what they did, and the bad part, what happened,
Stale management.
that the churches manipulated the people at that time and raised millions of dollars to take care of their little programs, to build, take care of the sprinkler system or something of that nature. And they didn't give what it needed to do. You know what did Elsie, God bless Elsie, and dealing with this lady for 2 years.
Yeah,
And this poor lady was Dorothy, and I say poor. She is having some, as you get older, you get little senile, this, that, whatever. We're not talking about you, ma'am. We're not talking about you,
I
ma'am.
am getting older. This is bright toast. Now get you more coffee. I have a bright toast. I get some
And so this poor lady, for what, her dealing with her mental issues, like you're dealing, Fritz. I mean, she's getting older. Her kids won't talk to her because she's cussed everybody out and burned bridges here and there. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's out there. And she calls Elsie about 4 or 5 times a day. And then no. Elsie did this to me yesterday. She came and he peeked out of the office. You're up.
It's your turn.
It's your turn.
I already talked to her like 3 times that day.
Oh God. And the sad part about it is that you can see the frustration in her, but when you don't understand mental health, you just think that the person she's just a bee. But she's, I don't know her life, but everything that to a certain point she was okay, and then she started losing it, and then her best friend can't handle her. And she needs to be diagnosed and put in an assisted living. Because my mother-in-law, when she had Alzheimer's, we went through that scenario with her and my wife. But yet, what's happening is that we don't understand. See, knowledge is power. See, when you tell me all the stuff that you tell me. And if I couldn't understand, I say, man, dump her, man, get rid of her, run, Forrest, run. But yet you understand the word of God. It's easy to run. It's easy to get away. Yeah, but when you stay, but when you're there, when you stand at the, come on, let's sing it.
Oh, he's letting me, man.
You don't. Yeah. And so, it's sad, but dealing with this prison chaplain study that I'm going through, very excellent. Because the most misconception that people have, man, these guys are liars, thieves, or whatever.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But I had a young man stay at my house this weekend, and he just got out of jail.
Freshly converted.
Freshly converted. I was to the grace of God, leading to the Lord through the thing, and I was able to sit down and talk to him. And I only got one sermon or one issue to deal with people. And that issue is always back because as men, but it applies to women too, is that we are a product of our environment. If our father was a jerk, guess what? His father was a jerk.
You're probably going to be
You asked my wife. and great grandfather's a jerk. But when we understand the cause of the people and their attitudes and why they are, is you start finding out that you learn, little kids. All of a sudden, you smoke cigarettes, right? All of a sudden, one day you see a little kid walk around with a cigarette in his mouth. Where did he get that from? He got that from you. And who do you gonna blame? They watch you. They emulate you. They emulate you in everything. The way you say or you speak, the way you talk and all that. And so, those are things that we as men, we need to get into that word and understand ourselves. How can I fix somebody else if I ain't fixed? Why do I act the way I act?
We've been wondering that for a long time.
And when I started Richard Massman. Anybody ever heard of Richard Massman? Okay. Richard Massman, he wrote a book, Recovery in Christ. I had the privilege of talking to him. He's working in the Salvation Army. Awesome man. Well, he wrote this book, and that's the manual that we've used all our ministry life as far as 12-step program and Christ, one of the best. Well, I went to his office. He works in Salvation Army, and he gave me a thumb drive, bro. I mean, everything he has, videos, this, that, whatever, all that. And but when my friend Sam, you need to come to our meeting. I don't need that. I'm okay. And she became a pain in my posterior, brother. You know, you ever had one of those folks, you know? Don't look at me. Anyway, and finally I went. I only went one time. And I found out that I was the cause of the problem.
The man in the middle.
I didn't like that. I was mad. Me? I'm such a nice guy. I'm a great guy. But then when I started looking at it, now I wasn't, yes I did, I used drugs, I drank, but I wasn't an alcoholic or I wasn't a doper guy. But
A bad doper.
a bad doper. But you know what?
Weekend warrior.
Yeah. But I was the son of an alcoholic. So I had the characteristics of an alcoholic. Anger, you know, and all sorts of stuff because that was my father. And I am my father's son. And so when we look at our background, so when we look to find out where is that little gem that's hiding somewhere, and it's in your own psyche because that's what the way you were brought up. And that's what you learn. You know, you got little kids today, man. They go to school and they're cussing like a sailor. Where did you get that from? Oh my God, I don't know where you got that from. The principal calls the parents to the school. Well, I don't know where to get them. So the girl, she gets outside. We're a product of our environment. You know, I could never understand Elsie's mind. We'll agree on that.
That's a Jeopardy question.
But you know what? You know, like this guy's a pack rat. He is attracted to rust. And, and all you gotta do is go to the shop, man.
Hey, trash is cash.
But you know what? Him being in the junk business like his dad was, he understands the value of that little boat. That little that rusted car that's got a good frame on it. You know, he understands those values, and other people look at him and say, "This guy's nuts." I say he's nuts. You know, some of that stuff we say, "What? I'm running." But you know what? We are a product of our environment, and it's our job that one day that we need to draw that line and say we need to be and make the difference. We need to make that difference. You know that testimony you shared some time ago that you were helping your son on a boat, and you were doing something, and your son jumped on you like white on rice, man, and all you did was kept your mouth shut and did what he told you to do. But then, because later on you realized that's you, that you did the same thing. And so, you know, why is old age, why is youth wasted on the youth?
On the young.
On the young. You know, we get older and we start to learn. And so why aren't we?
I meant to save 5-gallon bucket, I wasted it.
Well, you know, you're a product of your environment, like you say, and it can go even in a different direction than what you're taking there. It can even be the fact that if you're a son of an alcoholic, you detest alcoholism. Because of the abuse that came through your father with the alcoholism, when you get around other people, you don't cut them slack at all. You know, and that was my problem for a long time. I'd be like, Lord, what is wrong? Why can't, why is this happening? Why are these people acting like this? And it was because I'm trying to change something in you. And we don't see that. We compare ourselves to others, and we think that the negative situation is for them, but it's not. It's for you. There's something in you that God is trying to change. They're not listening to it. You are. Now, be obedient when He tells you or shows you the direction or whatever you're going to do. You know, and I know I'm preaching to myself on this because I've been through this again and again and again, in different things. But I had this terrible thing towards alcoholics. And I mean, they would come at me crying. You try to witness to somebody when they're crying and drunk, you just can't do it. You know, and I'm like, well, why are you bringing this person before me? Well, it's not to change them. It's to give you the patience or whatever to deal with situations or whatever. That's just one area it could be. You know, other is to soften you. To see this person really has a problem, whether it's alcoholism, mental illness, whatever. Like you said about mental illness, is so many people do what you say, run. And that's the first thing that comes on you. I can't handle this, I just need to get away, I lose my family, my job, it almost seems like that stuff is secondary, you know, to you when you're going through it. You know, to go through something like that, whether it's alcoholism, mental illness, drug addiction, whatever, where the person's not in this state of mind, is to learn to empathize with that person that's going through it, and to try to understand that maybe they can't help themselves when they're in that state of mind. And I know it's not that you try to be a martyr. You know, it's not that you try to be a martyr. You just try to cope with the lesson that God is trying to teach you in the situation. You know, that's the best way I can explain that. Because to this day, even when someone is sloppy drunk and I have to deal with the face on face, it's hard for me not to want to reach back and bell them, even after all the tears. You know,
You're exactly right, because my dad, I never went to one school from the beginning of school to the end. I mean, my dad moved and jumped around, started a business and stuff. He was so unstable. I mean, I went to 3 and 4 schools a year.
wow.
You know what I mean? That's how bad it was. I've been in the same house for almost 40 years, in the same business. You know, my daughters, you know what I mean, were raised in my house. They got a good education and stuff. So I guess that forced me to be the stable one. And actually, me and my dad had almost reverse roles. He was the one always getting in trouble and everything, and I'd be the one getting him out. And you know, it's weird, but. And now I see my daughter almost having the same relationship with her mother. I felt bad for Faith that she has to do that. But she's like me; she's just stepping up and doing what she has to do. You know, that's the way I felt at the time. You know, as a kid growing up. Oh, my dad's irresponsible, you know. I had to do what I had to do, you know.
Compassion is a unique word, because it actually talks about you understanding the brokenness in another person's life. And when you think of it like that, you go, well, my attitude has to change, because, you know, they're broken.
Yeah,
What do they do? They're broken. And so you talk about compassion, you talk about Jesus Christ. Does Jesus Christ have compassion on us? In fact, so much so, it's actually listed as a fruit of the Spirit. Long suffering. Compassion for that person who's broken. And And how many relationships that we have in our
Oh,
lives
yeah.
that we have a tendency to try to get out of rather than to be compassionate for. And that's challenging.
Compassion. Wow.
Different ballgame.
Look at Bill, yeah. You know, study.
Look, Frank, you're a little late.
Nursing home is not my case. But now, understanding what they're going through. I will be there.
Well, they're in prison. Well, you never think of a wheelchair or bars on the side of the bed as a prison. So you go and see them. So what does it say? Go and visit those who are in prison.
Yeah.
And prison of what? Prison of a bed, prison of a wheelchair, prison of dignity. They have no dignity. People steal their clothes, they're this, they're that. They used to have this and that, and it's gone. You know, the CNAs are stealing this stuff, you know. You got a good blanket, guess what? It's gonna disappear.
It's sad, you know. You see these homeless people. And here they are, they're pushing 2 shopping carts.
Yeah.
Piled high.
Still collecting.
Yeah, you know.
Right
I had
after
no place
Elsie's
to
art.
put it, you know. And I just,
Got my stuff.
yeah. It always tears me up every time I see that. I see it a lot.
When I was in Mexico, almost 10 years ago, the elderly women would be sitting on the side in the city, and their plastic bag was under their dress, and that's what they had. And they were waiting for it. There's no nursing homes in Mexico. If you didn't have a family to take care of you, you were a street woman, and that's where you lived. And I took the pictures. I saw it with my own eyes, you know. I said, so God bless America. I mean, these nursing homes, they take those people off the street and put them in a home. And we pay a lot of money to do that, you know.
Yeah, I feel a lot of times is this whole scenario of woe is
Thank
me,
you.
woe to my issues, woe to, because you know what, it's selfish. Because we do not look, we're dealing with it, we're going through that, but until the Lord opens a door, like he's had to open. So until you come to the realization, see, because we know stuff, but do we understand stuff? Do we understand the hurt that lady or that guy that's in that nursing home, or that woman is locked up, her mind is locked up in
somebody saying?
Do we understand that? But I think with all your, what's that scripture say, with all your knowledge, get understanding. With all your knowledge, get understanding. I wish I would understand more earlier, because, you know, I would have more compassion. I would have had more understanding, more concern, more, you know, love that guy. Instead of keeping him out the door. And I kick many of people out the door. Sorry.